Monday, lots of sunshine, still quite cool. Highs staying into the mid and upper 50s. Tomorrow night, mid and upper 30s, some scattered frost back into the lower 60s Monday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Soar Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
The radio 92.7.
Hello again, Chattanooga. Welcome back to New Radio 92.7. This is Kevin Blair and Beth Mansell with Element Funding, and Miss Paige Batten is going to stay with us. She's with Premier Property Group. You are listening to Mortgage Sense with Kevin, a common sense approach to mortgages. Hello, ladies.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. This is a little different. I'm liking. This is our first live show, and I'm liking this Facebook thing.
Wait, you mean we've been pretending when we say Happy Saturday?
Happy Saturday, we are, but that's okay. That's okay. I mean,
Liar.
we're very transparent. I mean, this is who we are. We
already established we have 8,000 kids, and the kids have activities on Saturdays.
They do. They really
but
do.
We are really here today.
You know, I need to mention something, Beth.
Yes.
Because we've had an exciting month.
We have.
We've had a very exciting month, and Beth, I'm looking at you and calling her Beth, and Miss Paige, I know you've met our two new guys.
Yes, I have.
We want to say hello to our two new folks that we've hired that have on the Blair Smiles team. We have
Chad McCullough.
And Clay Crabtree.
And so Kevin is no longer the only boy in our office.
Holy smokes. I'm telling you, I have been surrounded by 4 women now for the last 8 or 9 years.
Poor you.
For me. And I finally, and you know what, Paige, I'm not a small man. I'm 6'2", but both of these guys are bigger than I am. And
you better watch out.
I know it's making me feel kind of small. It really is. But
you
guys,
still have the biggest office.
I do have the biggest office.
And one of those guys has the cutest kids.
Oh my gosh, doesn't he though?
Oh yeah, I got a new little boyfriend.
I think he took over. I think
so
he did.
Adorable.
He did. You had lunch with us a couple of weeks ago, and he just took you over.
He did.
He did.
Like an hour lunch turned into a 3-hour babysitting gig.
Absolutely. Well, Clay, Chad, guys, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining the Blair Smiles team and Element Funding, and we're glad you're there. And come by and meet these guys because they're good, solid people. And like you said, there's more boys in the office now. And that's always a good thing.
Which means you no longer have your own bathroom either.
This is true.
Downfall.
There is a downfall. Well, Paige, we kind of got on something, and I want to finish that conversation. And thank you for staying with us.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay, because there is a different way of doing business, and we say all the time, there's 2,400, 1,800 active agents, probably 2,400 agents in Chattanooga, correct?
Yes.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's probably 200 plus lenders.
Yes.
So, we talk all the time about what makes you different, what makes us different. All right. Mm-hmm. And I say, and we've kind of started using this as a tagline because it really does work. You sell houses, I sell money, and Beth sells Kevin.
I have the hardest job.
And she's got the hardest job.
I do.
Okay. So, and her last name happens to be Mansell.
And he's the man I sell.
And I'm the man that she sells.
And I batten down your hatches.
And you batten down the hatches. That's right. So tell us what makes you different?
Okay, so it's funny you asked me that question because I was just driving back night before last from Nashville. So I had about a 2-hour drive, and I was actually asking myself, because I keep trying to come up with kind of like you were saying, a little tagline or something. Right. And I actually came up with one, and I was just sitting there literally talking to myself out loud in the car.
Are we announcing it today for the first time?
Yeah. What makes me different? And I think what makes me different is I practice relationship real estate.
Real estate.
And what I mean by that is, everybody wants a paycheck for their job.
Sure.
Well done. But honestly speaking, and I have had been very fortunate. My husband and we chose for me to stay home with my kids till they were raised. My youngest is a senior in high school. So I was very fortunate to do that before I took over this new, my late life career, I guess you could call it. But what I mean by relationship real estate is when I go and meet someone, whether I'm interviewing for that listing or I'm talking to that buyer, I'm trying to establish a relationship with them. It's not about the bottom dollar for me. It is really about making those people's dreams come true, forming a relationship with them where they want to use me and they want to refer me, because a lot of our business comes through referrals. And if we're not establishing a relationship with those people,
Right.
then it's going to be a one and done. And it's
a
over.
transaction.
Yes.
Then it's just a transaction.
And I mean, I'm going to, next time I literally get my new business cards, I'm going to put relationship real estate, because I really believe in establishing that relationship. I am helping people spend the most money they are ever going to spend, probably in one transaction. And it's helping them establish and find that dream. And I've worked with a buyer. In fact, we're closing on their house on Monday. And this buyer, he's a seller now, but the house that they are buying is not using me. And I helped them for almost a year looking for a property. And they called me a couple of months ago and they said, we found our dream property, but it's my mom's friend who lives down the street from her, and she doesn't want to use a real estate agent. She just wants us to have this property. And they were feeling bad. And I said, no, don't feel bad. I'm like, that's my job, is to find you.
Right.
And what was out there on the MLS and was out there for sale by owners that had signs in the yard was not available to them. And so I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not getting one red penny for working almost a year with them. And I'm totally fine with that, because they are getting their dream home. They are getting their property that they want to raise their children on, that has a pond and a creek. And it's exactly what they wanted. So it's one thing to be fired from a job.
Right.
And that really hurts my feelings. And I want to find out why. Again, It's that relationship. I want to know why something didn't work out. But if it's just, we found something and you can't be a part of it, that's totally fine.
Yeah, you've kind of hit a nerve with me, because we do things different at the Blair Smiles team. We really do. And I would rather tell somebody the truth 100% of the time.
Right.
Number one, I don't have to remember what I told you.
Exactly.
Okay. However, we had a situation about 4 or 5 weeks ago. In fact, it was 2 weeks ago. And it's one of those situations where, and we talked in the first segment, not everybody's going to use us. But in our business, we want to tell our buyers exactly 100% upfront what to expect. Because there are surprises every single day in this business. And when somebody gets surprised like that, Paige, it's a transaction. And people are not going to come back. It's a Fannie Mae fact that 27% of all people that have a transaction this year, in the next 12 months, are going to do something else. Whether it's a HELOC or whether they got transferred or whether life happens,
right?
Or they refinance. Life happens. So if we're doing our job and doing it on a relationship basis, okay, people are going to come back to us.
I think National Association of Realtors says what, every 4 to 6 years or 4 to 6 years?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the average, I think, staying in home is 7 years.
It's 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you know what? And it's a sickening fact that only 12% of people that have a buyer's agent use them again.
Yeah.
Only 12%.
And that's where and my relationships go beyond the closing table. When I close on a house, in fact, your neighbor who I sold their house.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
He called me a couple of weeks ago and he was like, "Are you mad at me?" And I was like, "Well, absolutely not." And he said, "Well, I just haven't heard from you in a while," which, I mean, it's that relationship. And
Right.
I hadn't called them in a while because, I mean, I don't want to like bombard them and feel like I'm like, their new little stalker or anything. But I'm like, no, absolutely not. He goes, "Well, we just talked so much this transaction." He goes, "And we got, they're my family. They're an extended family." And I actually told him, I said, "Well, I haven't talked to my mom in a month either, so don't feel bad."
Don't feel bad. Well, you've been kind of busy. You have been kind of busy.
But it's about relationships and forming those relationships, and they carry on. I mean, they carry on beyond, the transactions that we do with them.
It's not a transaction. It's not. If it is, you know what? You're going to be fighting for new business all the time.
Right.
Well, it's families.
It's, you know what?
And memories. And I mean, that's the house. That's the place where families make memories.
That's right.
You're dealing with lives. And I mean, it's something that, I mean, there's a lot of responsibility in what we do, and it's helping them. I mean, you're dealing with their money, and I'm dealing with their, I almost say their happiness, but like getting in that home and making sure it's what they wanted, and it's not going to have all these issues, and all that. So we're dealing with a lot of emotional type situations with people.
How are you handling it? And because this has been a very strange year. I mean, with the market the way it has been, and houses going on the market, and like you said, you explained that other house a little bit ago where you got so many showings and so many listings and so many offers so quick. First, I mean, they have to be pre-approved, and we'll beat that horse forever. Okay, right. How do you handle? Because I will tell you, Sherry and I went, and we bought 11 homes now in 38 years of marriage.
Hadn't used me, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, we didn't.
He did not know.
I did not know you 3 years ago. I did not know you 3 years ago. But we went through a list and we T-bar it, the old pros and cons, and this is what we're looking for. We prioritize our list. People don't have time for that now. I mean, and that makes it a tough market.
It does, and especially for that, that market that the houses are going really quickly. And that's where, as an agent, I try to really educate my buyers way before we even go look at a house. You want to explain to them and educate them about multiple offers. You want to explain to them about pre-approvals. You want to explain to them about those. Really put down what you want and what you don't want, because you may have to make a pretty quick decision.
You're going to have to make it. I mean, quicker than I've ever seen it in 19 years of doing this business. Well, if you just tuned into Nuga Radio 92.7, you're listening to Mortgage Sense with Kevin, a common sense approach to mortgages. I am Kevin Blair, and I've got lovely Beth Mansell we're with Element Funding, and you've been listening to Paige Batten with Premier Property Group talk about real estate, and I love it. But let's talk about something else. Okay, this is probably our biggest soapbox, if I have a soapbox. And since it is Mortgage Sense with Kevin, I can talk about my soapbox.
Right.
The pitfalls of getting just credit approved. There is a reason, Paige, that we do things the way that we do them. We are approaching the Blair Smiles team, since we've been together in February, it'll be 10 years. We are approaching 2,000 transactions that we have closed. Wow. We have only had 2 loans turned down once they went into underwriting. And we talked a little bit about, that credit approval and just that letter. There is a method to our madness. In fact, I know, and I think, have you met our coach?
I have not met him.
Yeah, and you will soon, because he'll be back in the office here soon. We differ. And I know Brad's out there listening, because I know he's going to check us out on Facebook Live this morning. We differ very greatly, and we had to agree, when we first started our coaching with him, we had to agree to disagree on the way that we do our business, because Brad will take credit and send out a credit approval email within minutes.
Well, I'd say most lenders do that also.
Most lenders do that.
That's the way I was taught.
That's the way we were taught. Okay. And we will not. Paige, I won't sign my name to a letter that says that they are pre-approved to buy a home until I've gone through everything. Beth, what do we go through?
We get their their 30 days worth of pay stubs, their last 2 years tax returns and W-2s, their last 2 months bank statements, a copy of an ID. If we find out they've gone through a divorce, we'll get the divorce papers. That way we can see a full financial picture.
Okay,
because we have to have them anyway to get them approved.
Absolutely.
And those letters really pre-qual letters, or what we call credit approval letters, and they have the subject to income verification, subject to this, subject to this. Well, why wait till money is spent, appraisals paid for, inspection, earnest money is put down to find out if someone is truly approved?
And then somebody's found their dream home that they're excited about. The couple that's selling, they're buying another home based on somebody saying that they were approved to buy a house. So let me ask you a question. This is your test. Today is test day for Miss Beth.
Do it.
So why do we have to have their bank statements up front?
Because sometimes there are monthly payments that people may be making that does not show up on the credit report. But once we see it, and once the underwriter sees it, they are going to incorporate it into their debt ratio. And when it comes to a mortgage, there's 2 things: your credit and your debt ratio. And if that payment causes that debt ratio to get too high, it's not going to close.
And some people forget about those payments that are automatically, it's not that they're trying to keep it from you. They just forget about it.
Great point. Because, I mean, and you're 100% right. You know, they don't realize what they don't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that sounds, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but, you know, sometimes we don't know that there's alimony being paid or there's child support being paid.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see those on the bank statement, and it can change the whole outcome of the loan.
And sometimes it's for the better too. Sometimes you're getting money deposited every month.
That's right.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
That's right. You know, so it's interesting, and there's a reason. You know, people ask us why we're different and how we're different. Well, that's the first thing, is we're not going to play the games that are in this business, guys. If you're out there, if you're looking, if you're thinking about buying a home, and I'm going to say this even strongly. If you're thinking about selling your home and you're going to be buying another home, you need to get pre-approved first before you even think about listing your home for sale. I can't tell you how many times this year that we've had families that are under contract to sell their home, then get a pre-approved and can't buy a home page.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, it makes me sick to my stomach. And guess what? They're under contract.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a place to rent because they're not qualified. And this getting qualified, it's a scary process. It really is a scary process, but it doesn't have to be. It is when we talk about a common sense approach, we do take a common sense approach. I want to sit down with all of our buyers, to sit down and go through their financials with them, to go through their credit report with them, whether it's a phone call or across the desk, to see, because what's the number one question we always get?
What's your rate?
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 You know,
hey, Kevin, what's the rates today?
Hey, Kevin, what's your rates
what's
today?
The rate?
With no points.
What's the rate?
You know, I mean, it's constant.
What's the rate?
it is constant, and it's not always about the rate.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize, but it's not a black and white answer when it comes to what's your rate. Rate is credit score driven. So if I have a 780 score and Paige has a 620, I'm getting a better.
Okay.
I'm getting a better rate.
That's right.
But it's also program driven, and many times you may get, compare programs and get a slightly higher rate, but still have a lower payment due to the insurance, which is why you should not use an app or some quick website to get approved for a mortgage, because you really may not get the best program for you and your family.
So here's what we put out there, and I'm going to piggyback on what Paige said earlier. You know what? Interview. Ask questions. And you know what? Here's the first 3 questions that you need to be asking when you're interviewing lenders. What are your hard costs? Okay. We all know what our hard costs are. We know what we charge for underwriting. We know what we charge for processing. We know what we charge to pull your credit. We know what those are.
Number 2. I know number 2.
What's number 2?
Do you charge an origination fee?
Listen to her.
Listen to you, Paige. Batten.
I know.
You know,
batting a 10.
my heart is fluttering right now. Yes. Do you charge an origination fee?
And Paige, what should they do if they say, yes, we do? We charge 1%.
Say, oh no, we might want to go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. Because and then the third question is, do you charge a discount point? Okay. So the answer for us, we have a flat fee no matter what kind of loan it is, no matter what size of loan it is.
And if you call today, no.
Yeah, absolutely. You call today. We can get you approved today. Absolutely. My number is 423-488-7571. And guess what? If it rings to Beth, if Beth doesn't answer it in 3 rings, it rings to me. And if I don't answer it 3 rings, then we're both in trouble, because then it goes
then it rings to me. And
then it rings to Stacy.
And then it rings to Stacy. So we're a little bit of trouble there. Well, I tell you, Paige, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Number one, it's always fun, but you always bring some great information. Okay. And thank you for that. Thank you for being a partner. Thank you for taking care of us. We also need to thank our people who are out there that take care of us as far as our show. Taylor Salto with Farmers Insurance. Let Taylor your
insurance needs.
Absolutely.
Dun, 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 dun.
Then we got Milligan Reynolds Title, the ladies down on Cherry Street. They have been doing business for 80 years. They take care of us. They're
But
fantastic
they're not 80
people.
years old.
They're not 80 years old. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
And then if you've been listening to the commercials, you've heard Pediatric Dentistry of Chattanooga, and that young lady that's talking is actually my oldest grandchild, Jaden. So thank you, Jaden. And then we've got American Home Shield with Beth Kelly. We've got Full Disclosure Property Inspection with Miss Melanie Moore, who actually brought us Clay Crabtree.
He did.
Absolutely. And then we've got Instra Drive with Kevin Jardet. Guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for taking care of us. You've been listening to Nooga Radio 92.7 Mortgage Sense with Kevin. I'm going to let Beth tell us how to get in touch with us.
All right. You can reach Kevin Blair and the Blair Smiles team at 423-488-7571. Call anytime, even during the weekend. We do pick it up. Or you can go online to blairsmilesteam.com. Or for more information, you can also text the keyword Kevin, that's Kevin, to 57711. And do me a favor, while you're on Facebook, go ahead and look for the Blair Smiles Team Element Funding and give us a like while you are there.
Fantastic. You know, if I can say one more thing, if you're interested in buying a house, if you're interested in selling a house, give us a call. Let us help you. We'd love to help you. You've been listening to Mortgage Sense with Kevin, a common sense approach to mortgages. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and let's go Vols.
Go Vols.
All comments and representations are not necessarily the views of